I just want to invest in people that really want to be the best that they can be.
Hello, everyone. It's Todd Scrima and the lovely Robin LaVassaur and the GOAT Jimmy Reed. And we do a podcast once a month for our realtor partners, our business people. And I think you can learn so much from so many people. So today we're talking about the value of mentorship. So I want you guys to hear me for a second. I believe mentors are everywhere. So let me go through a list. I wrote some notes down. Indulge me for a second. From my grandfather, I learned work ethic. From my dad, he taught me how to sell stuff.
Oh, what?
How to sell stuff.
That's true.
My first mentor in the mortgage business taught me the value of truly understanding loan guidelines. My trade. So if you're a lawyer, you really got to learn the law. If you're a doctor, you got to learn how to do the surgeries. Okay. I had another business coach taught me the value of saving and investing money. When I became single 8 years ago, I hired a therapist for 7 years that Jimmy Reed actually referred me to learn how to love a woman. Jim Reed taught me the art and science of when you delegate to a smart person, they can do anything as good as you. Robin LaVassaur taught me the importance of loving people deeply and how to be a big business person and still have a joyful life.
Oh, that's sweet.
My girlfriend, Adrienne, taught me that every single person on this earth can find a soulmate that takes emotional love to a level you never thought possible.
Good for you, brother.
And my children taught me everyone in life is different, unique, and beautiful.
Well,
and accepting and loving them for who they are is a big part of life. Because I have 3 kids and they're all very different. Okay? That's just a short list. I could keep going, but I won't. So, mentorship is everywhere. If you catch the teaching. And I don't believe that people look at life that way. I'll give you an example. I was in Eugene visiting Robin, and I am greeted at the front desk by Michaela. Michaela, right?
McKinley,
sorry.
Yes.
So McKinley greeted me, and very sweet. And I later in the day, I was kind of chatting with her, waiting for Robin to get out of the bathroom, and she says, "Do you know I'm deaf?" I said, "What?" I'm like, "Robin, you hired a deaf receptionist." She says, "I have an ear implant. I don't talk perfect, but they're really helping me here." And I said, "How are they helping you?" They said, "Well, the operations managers work with me 15 minutes a day to learn how to speak better." I'm like tearing up. I'm going to post this just so you know I got her permission.
Yeah.
And then she says, "Todd, I never thought I would have a job because my parents told me just be happy with your disability check." That's Robin paying attention on how to change someone's life and make it better. She sees that opportunity, and that's magical. So mentorship is everywhere. People just don't pay attention, is my point.
And we're all mentors.
Yes.
We all need mentorship, and we're all mentors.
Yes.
Yeah, whether we are playing small or playing big, we are playing interested or we are playing isolated, right? Like we are mentoring in some way. Somebody is aware and watching and paying attention to what we are doing, and it makes a huge difference. And I think that when we step into a leadership role, we sign up to say, put your eyes on me, right? Put your investment in me, and I'm going to give back to you. And I think that so many people step into a role of quote unquote leadership often, and we've spoken about it many times on here, for title and or for paycheck. And it's those two things come when you actually do the job the right way, right? You do the job the right way, and you really are invested in being that mentor. And I think that it's really, really critical. I love, Todd, how you started this with, I started writing down, like, what did I learn from Todd? What do I learn from Jim? What do I learn from my children? What do I, and there's life is a mentor, right? And yet how critical is it? And I think this is a big thing for us to give tactics today to branch managers. How critical is it for not only you, but the people that follow you to have the right mentors that they not only have chosen, but they're pursuing, and they're willing to listen to them, right? They're willing to actually do that work. And so not only are you setting yourself up as where you might be a mentor that, and don't take this wrong, but hey, Todd, right now you're single, you're divorced. You might not mentor somebody right this minute on marriage, but you might mentor them strong on being an entrepreneur and a business, right? And a business person. Like, and so it's not, I wouldn't mentor somebody on how to cook, just so we're clear. I'm decent. I'm certainly not a guru, right? Like we all have different things in our life. I might not mentor a woman who's not choosing to have children on how to run a business with kids. Obviously, it's not practical, right? And so I think that's a big deal. Go ahead.
I want to emphasize something, Robin. I got it. So so many people miss the opportunity to pick a good mentor because they look at that person's weaknesses and think, well, therefore they're not good at something else. And that, that's not setting up. My kids, teenagers, if you have them, they're going to judge you, and they're going to know what you've done wrong.
Everything.
And it's difficult. But I told my son last night, I'm like, just because I have made mistakes that you have seen doesn't mean I can't tell you what you're doing wrong. Just because I have failed in business at times doesn't mean I can't help you with your business.
Yeah.
Just because don't go to the gym every day doesn't mean I can't tell you how to be a better salesperson. It's so weird how people will find a way to not take the good from someone and leave the bad. They'll just say, all I see is bad, so I'm not willing to take the good. And those are people who are resisting growth, right? Like this podcast is for realtors, and it's like in their industry, where do you go for mentorship? How do you choose mentors, right? Like it's such a difficult industry to really get solid, good, trusting mentorship. And I'll just say it. It's because a lot of the models claim it and charge for it without quality. And so as an individual person, and I think it's in the Bible too, it's like one of the biggest choices you have is who you choose as your mentors.
Yeah.
It's like the most important.
In realtors especially, Jimmy, I don't know about you, in lending, there's a little more, I think there's something to do with like the W-2 part of being a lender.
More structure, whatever it is, yeah. More
like a job, if you will. And in real estate, it's even more of that freedom, right? Everybody's free as a bird. And I think,
Cowboys.
And not only cowboys, but almost like I'm a fake cowgirl. Hear me. I love gear. Fake. I love the gear. I love to go to a rodeo. This is a true story. I love to put on cowgirl boots. I love to put on a hat. But you know how many times in my life I've been on the back of a horse? Less than 10. And I'd be scared out of my gourd if I was doing it on my own, right? Like not going to happen. I'm not a true cowgirl. I would need help in that case. And I think that one of the biggest myths in real estate in general is staying distant, maybe taking in information. Going to seminars does not mean you've chosen a mentor. Watching somebody from a distance does not mean you've chosen somebody as a mentor. Having a mentor means I'm willing to hear all things from you, right? Like I'm not going to tear you down. I'm going to listen to you, right? Like it's Jimmy, you talked about people, oh, you're not perfect, so I can't listen to you. It's so much easier to tear everybody else down than look at yourself and get better, right? And so how do we do that? And that's really deciding, hey, I want you to mentor me. I've had a few people, and I bet the two of you have as well, that have, and I'm always very humbled by it, who have pursued me heavily and said, I want you to mentor me. I want you to mentor me. I'm going, and it almost, to a place that makes me giggle. It's endearing and also even sometimes like responsibility and annoying, right? Like, oh, you're really pursuing me. Like you're on my tail. And yet at the same time, I think to myself, What a beautiful thing to be so humble and so hungry that you are pursuing someone and you're wanting nothing but to have them rub off on you. There was when you listen to the bigs in the influence world, Ed Milet, different people, at some point they were small and they just heavily pursued people in the craft that they wanted to be. Right. And then all of a sudden they started to create what they wanted to create. They didn't create it on their own. They followed.
Check this out. Robin, how many times has it happened where someone came up and said they want you to mentor them?
And then
you never heard from them again.
More times than anybody's ever pursued me, Jimmy.
And then, so that's right. So then they can blame you. And that's the difference between people who super achieve and people who are victims. This is deep, but they set themselves up to have an excuse.
Scapegoat.
I swear to God, it's subconscious. It's like, well, I told Jim I wanted Tim to be my mentor. He didn't call me back. So not my fault I suck.
What do you think the life quality, Todd? Like, let's end on this note. What do you think, let's go to business. What do you think the results are for somebody who is truly in pursuit at all times and in relationship and surrendered, if you will, to a mentor versus not? What do you think the results are when it comes to income and success?
Anywhere from 2x to 20x. It's in that range. Depends on how good the student is.
I guarantee you that's proven out, right? In a million different places.
Yeah, we track it. So here's 3 steps to find a mentor. One is find someone simply that has the result that you want. So let's say I'm a realtor and I'm doing 2 deals a month, and I might approach someone in my town that's doing 10 deals a month. Okay. That would be a good start. Number 2 is ask them for help. Ask them for time and help. And I'm not even saying paying people. Like, there are paid coaching programs, but there's several coaches I've had. I just ask them, and sometimes we trade. I've done trades before. Like, hey, I'm going to teach you something I'm good at. You know, say you're really good at getting deals from YouTube, but you don't know how to do 10 deals a month. The other person does. Maybe you trade. Right? That's it. So be a little creative with it. And then the third thing is do 100% of everything they tell you to do. And I'll end this with a cute story that just happened.
But hold on, Todd. That was so huge. Just hold on. So do everything they tell you to do. So if I pursue you, right, and I don't give up, and I don't know what your hourly rate is, but I know it's really high. So I pursue you enough, and I wear you out, and I charm you. And finally, you, Todd, mentor me as a young loan officer, which would take a lot of charm and a lot of pursuit. And then you tell me to do something, and I don't do it. What's your response, and how do you feel? I'm not paying you, and I didn't do it.
Disrespected and lied to me.
Yeah, the way I feel is I don't respond to you anymore.
Yeah.
I go dark on you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. You guys ready for a cute story?
Yeah.
This might make you cry.
You already made me cry once today, so during this one.
So Sunday night, Adrian and I have a bunch of people over for dinner. 15 kids and couples. Her 11-year-old son is named Rocco. Rocco has this kid I love named Jackson. Jackson and I have spent a lot of time together. We've done all kinds of things, boating, fishing, all kinds of stuff, because he's his best friend.
That's cool.
They say, Mr. Scrima, can we talk to you outside? Yeah. So we go out on the veranda. We sit down. And Jackson looks right at me and he says, would you help us start a business? We've got a business idea and we think it'll really work.
That's awesome.
So I would just chat. And after a while, and this kid is very articulate. Like Rocco's kind of like, yeah, I agree. But Jackson's able to say it very clearly. I said, Jackson, why do you want to do this? And he says, 2 reasons, Mr. Scrima. He says, number 1, I know that there's some kids making $100,000, sometimes $1 million doing some of these ideas. And I think I could do it because I see them do it.
Oh,
I said, okay. What's number 2? You said you had 2. He says, Mr. Scrima, my mom is a social worker, And my dad works in IT. And we do just fine, but we're definitely middle class. And I want them to have a great life. Like, literally tearing up. And so where we ended it with is I gave him some videos I had done on business plan. And I said, okay, I'll mentor you. And I, because they need a business license. They need a business plan. They need to learn how to do Facebook ads, like a lot of stuff that I know how to do. And I'm like, okay, I'll help you with all this. Then I go inside. And one of the moms asks what we're talking about. I told her, and she says, why would you do that? They're probably not going to do any of it. And I said, if there's a 1% chance that they can gain some experience, or maybe they go all the way through and actually do it. I said, I'm not attached to the outcome. They're 11 years old. But to encourage that line of thinking, that aggressive, hey, we want to try something. And they said several times, hey, just so you know, this could totally fail. I said, I'm in business. Like, I'm crystal clear.
Yeah.
So they have realistic expectations, somewhat. But it was so cute. And then the mom was like, well, why would you pour into these kids? I'm like, you don't know me very well.
Yeah.
I would pour into any 11-year-old that asked me to help them. I don't care. A complete stranger. Right?
Totally.
So the fact that those kids, even if they just get part of the lesson and we only meet 3 times, but they look at me as a mentor and they learn to seek mentorship, I'm telling you, that will serve them the rest of their lives. When they're married and they're going through some marital troubles, they'll go to the church and ask for help. They'll hire a therapist. They will ask a friend that's been married 38 years. Like, they'll take those kind of steps where 90% of people won't. And that's the difference. So, anyway, really good topic, guys. As you can tell, we're all 3 a little passionate about this one.
Well, to only if there's kids teach you something, it's that adults complicate the heck out of things, right? So when an 11-year-old is willing to be vulnerable, willing to dream big, willing to not understand like that might be, oh, the adult says, why would you do that? Because we're adults, right? And all the things we've seen, but the kids, right, is all they see is possibility, right? What could they have to lose? And if we all thought a little more freely like that and a little more the way they did and not worry about anything else, man, what a fun life.
Well, the worst day of my life is when I watched my kids become self-conscious.
Yes. And there is a true shift.
It's a moment in time and you're like, oh God, he's worried about what he looks like to other people.
Yep.
Before that, he could give a flying fig.
Yes.
And I'm like, how do I get that back? I pursue it every day.
Oh,
no.
That's good.
Awesome.
Hey, listen, if you enjoyed this, please send it to a friend. If you're thinking of buying or refinancing or referring more loans to Summit, please do so. That's how all this works, right? We love doing this stuff and helping people. And the idea is, like I said, the key to life. You teach and give away freely what you're really good at, and you learn and get things from other people that you're not good at. And that's a beautiful life. If we all acted more that way, imagine what could happen. We couldn't even imagine what the world we could live in. I believe that. Okay. Thanks for listening, guys. Please share it with someone.
Bye.